What is up, you beautiful people? This is Gary Horne, and this is the NWA. It's the show celebrating the past, present, future, history, legacy, and tradition of the greatest wrestling entity of all time, the National Wrestling Alliance. I'm here with my best of friends, Captain James T. Kirk and Brett the Hitman Hart, peeking from behind this tree behind me here today. That's going to fall over at some point.
Oh, is that a tree? I thought that was
cool tree, man.
I thought that was Sputnik for a second. I was like, why has he got Sputnik back there with Captain Kirk?
Sputnik, that's what that is. Yeah.
That's what it looked like.
Also here is the Doc, Robert Stinson. Hey, Doc.
Good evening, everybody.
And Wil Martin.
That's me. What's up, everyone?
That is him.
Finger touch.
That's like the Sistine Chapel.
Heck yeah.
All right. Well, I am here with my bougie water, as my wife calls it. This is Richard's rainwater. Have you guys ever had it?
No.
No. I don't drink.
Where do you even get that?
I got it at the
Sounds
fresh market.
awful.
Yeah.
Not a sponsor.
I'm trying to trade my vices out. I can't be whiskey Gary all
You're
the
so
time. I
hip
gotta.
and
Come on.
you're so
People
hip
love
and
whiskey, Gary.
progressive.
And I was trying to think, like, what if I switched my vices to different
Too
types
pretentious?
of bougie water?
There's other. I mean, you could go other directions with that. It's not like one.
Well, I was
extreme
gonna
or the
smoke
other.
cigarettes, but I thought that would get less over than
Dude,
this.
that's dude. That's not cool.
So Sandman, I think.
Oh man. Anyway,
or rainwater. There's no in between. Gary is like he's extreme one way or the other. That's what you
well,
get.
this was $7 for a 6-pack
Good lord.
of water, of sparkling
Rainwater.
water.
You're a fool.
It's
There's
delicious.
literally
It's
just,
delicious.
there's
I
just
can get you
lakes
that stuff
and
right
rivers
out of my
everywhere.
tap, man. Just to taste just as delicious. Even add a little iron to it,
Woo!
you know.
Probably
and,
right.
Some fluoride.
Yeah, a little
Clean
fluoride.
your
All
teeth
right. Well, we'll talk more about the water in just a minute. I want to say
Yes.
thanks to everybody for hanging out with us tonight. All our people are here. We got Pollo Del Mar is in the house
Yes.
of all people.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh.
snap.
Welcome
Who's
to
one
the
of my
party.
faves. So this is great. Pollo's out there, front row, who we can't deny front row. Front row and the Nation show, by the way, I think the VIP for Hard Times 2 is sold out. And that's partially thanks to Front Row and the Nation show, because those folks have come in and bought up all the tickets because the whole Nation show's coming. You know they get rowdy. Another person that gets rowdy, Certified Hustlers in the house.
No doubt.
Certified's going to be here, representing the STL.
You
we
can't
got-
spell rowdy without the R in certified hustler. The
That's-
first R.
That makes
Okay.
sense. I think you could make a crossword puzzle like that.
Yeah.
The Ultimate Pusher Tyreek is here. This is like a
Right.
celebrity crowd tonight. This is
Yeah.
a big deal.
I seen
I saw-
Tyreek get retweeted today by the NWA, man.
I saw that.
I saw Tyreek on Power tonight. PowerrrSurge.
As seen on
was taking-
PowerrrSurge, the
Taking
ultimate
pictures
pusher.
for the fans.
That's true. That's true.
So-
Tyreek is everywhere. You can't deny Tyreek. He's been impressing people all over the business here lately.
Hey,
The
coming
Ultimate
to my
Pusher.
parlor, said the spider to the fly. He is the spider prince himself.
You damn
Ultimate
right.
Pusher.
You damn right. The Ultimate Pusher. Wrestling with the MMA is here. We haven't seen
What?
you in a little bit. It feels like.
What?
What is that? What is he doing here?
Oh, snap.
Oh, it's like old times.
This is like,
Oh
I
my
feel
God.
like it's a
Todd
Sunday night
Tomler
right
is
here.
out there.
And you're
Kevin
not going to drink
James
whiskey?
out there.
You're going to drink rainwater with all these people
Come
here
on
at the
now,
party?
we got MMA
No, I'm
in the
gonna
house.
switch. I'm gonna have to switch over.
I'm
It's
gonna
getting,
get-
it's getting
Peer
wild up
pressure.
in here. I didn't know
Peer
we was going
pressure.
old school tonight on PowerrrSurge episode. I just
Ooh.
thought, oh,
We are not the best influences on Gary. Gary trying to clean his act up, and we're like, nah, bro, here, just
Hey,
try,
man.
just one more.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, come on.
take
man.
one more sup.
Come on, man.
A sup. Just one sup.
Oh my gosh. Dave Scooby's here. James Lawrence is here.
Scooby,
We got.
James Lawrence in the
I
house.
mean, everybody, all of you. Terry McDermott's out there. James H. Jackson Jr., who pretended like he didn't know who I was in the Fight TV chat today. He's out there in the chat.
Ooh,
James Jackson be doing that, though.
big time in
He
you.
be playing games.
Yeah, R.A. Davis is out there. He took up for me, though. R.A. had my back. Because in the chat, I don't know if you know this, but I posted on Twitter, I had an imposter Gary Horne in the Fight TV chat again. So that's how you know you made it, when you got an imposter version of yourself.
Oh, man. That's why I like to fly under the radar. I don't have
Yeah.
any. any imposters.
so-
We got an imposter, Doc Stinson, out there, by the way. His name is Gary Horne.
No.
Oh, I'm just
Uh,
Yee.
God help us all. All right. Well, tonight was PowerrrSurge. And hope you guys all watched it. Love to know what you think. Drop it in the chat. We obviously are from at TIPW show. And we're glad you're here tonight for the NWA post show. We may or may not have special guests. One of them's trying to get out of it right now. We'll see. And we still got a lot. We're going to have a lot of fun either way. And PowerrrSurge, a big deal. This was a different type of PowerrrSurge, though, because this was 5 straight matches. This was no interviews. This was, I mean, you can't say anything negative about that, right? Like when you want, you know, I know when some people are like, oh, it's not Power anymore, it's PowerrrSurge. So you're expecting like a little slower pace, some talking, that sort of thing. That wasn't this PowerrrSurge. This PowerrrSurge was all action, just straightforward action the entire time. You had 5 different matches, and all of them, I dare say, were fantastic matches. And so I'm excited to dive into those and talk about them a little bit. Doc,
this is the kind of show. Yeah, no, this is the kind of show that shows you. This is a demonstration, a case in point on how excellent the NWA roster is from top to bottom. Because the shows that we saw, the matches we saw tonight, these are the beans and bullets of the NWA. These are the guys that are emerging, that are on the cusp of championship glory. They're going to be big names, but it's just every single one of these matches was thick. They were all entertaining. They were all compelling. I liked every single one of them from top to bottom.
Yeah, and I mean, this was, I think we talked about this last time, the last PowerrrSurge episode, and this season, all of the episodes of PowerrrSurge have been this way. But it's you know, seemingly random matchups, right? Just pick 2 people, put them in the ring together, let them have a wrestling match. But the NWA is a place where that can happen, and you don't have to have a big feud. You don't have to have, you know, a reason behind it. These guys are all here. These guys and girls are all here to fight. They're prize fighters. That's why they're in the NWA. So that's where you can do something like this on PowerrrSurge tonight. Is just, you know, pick 2 guys. Okay, JTG, Slice Boogie. No prior history, no real reason to not like each other, but they're going to get in the ring and they're going to have a hell of a match because they're competitors, and that's what you can have in the NWA, and I love to see that kind of stuff.
On top of that, you got a dark match there that they aired, and it's Joe Galley versus Facial Hair, which was which I
he's
thought
trying
was,
to join. He's trying to join us.
Yeah,
I thought Joe looked good. I actually was like,
I didn't say he didn't look good.
He looked very clear. He just looked
very
clear.
Sean Connery. Very Sean Connery.
I don't know. Just looked like his face was just like
clear.
He looked vibrant. Like just he was glowing a little bit.
Boy, what they can do with trick photography today, boy. And editing.
I'm just saying. I mean, the guy just came off his birthday. He went on some trip with his girlfriend or something. So maybe that's why. Maybe he came back just all pretty and glowing and gruesome.
Billy the Kid Trask can do wonders, even for Gerrymander Joe, man.
Oh, look at that. Oh, welcome, Tony Justice. It's good to see you, my friend. Thanks for being here. You too, Willie Bowen. All right, well, let's dive in. Yeah. I knew that was coming. It wouldn't be the same if he didn't do that. Yeah, he had to do that.
We don't want to get a copyright notice. So
This sounds so similar.
I know
to the actual track.
The algorithm might think we're playing it.
Yeah, that won't fly. Anyway, just remember, Doc, Bret Hart's always watching, so you gotta be careful.
Captain Kirk is watching him. So
well, our first match tonight was JTG. They're in a loving embrace, by the way. That's what that is. There's just 2 of my heroes, and they're holding each other, watching me try to embrace their legacy. That's what's happening. That's how I look at it.
Where does Sputnik fit into it, though? Like,
ain't no damn Sputnik. I don't even know.
Tie-in?
Did Sputnik have a dog on it? I can't remember.
They took some kind of animal up there with it, didn't they?
Yeah, I would Google it, but it's not important to anything we're talking about. So the real thing here is Slice Boogie and JTG had a match tonight. And I was looking forward to this one. This is a pretty back and forth matchup. Slice taking a few shortcuts. But overall, JTG getting the big win over Slice Boogie in this one. Well, no, I say he got the win. I don't actually know. I don't think he did get the win. Actually, did it? It just got thrown out. Yali Sapphire just threw the thing out
because you had all that extracurricular activity going on there at the end.
That's right. Yeah. Basically, you saw Colby Corino coming out as presumably to help his partner JTG, which JTG didn't seem like he was down with it, but Colby was. I guess because of their teaming together, Colby was like, "I'm gonna help you out anyway," and he came out, and then Sal Rinauro came out to take out Colby Corino, but that confused JTG, so JTG took out Sal. Slice started fighting with Colby, and then Yali Sapphire just said, "I'm out." and that's how that match ended. I'm sorry. That's what happened. It was a kerfluffle, and nobody.
There it is.
The old fluff.
Yeah, I mean, I love Colby Corino. I like his intensity, but I'm like, man, come on now. Look at we got JTG and the Slice Boogie in there trying to do this, and then you're right. Like Joe Gelly made a point in there about the alliance that has emerged between JTG and Colby Corino, but that seemed to be lost on JTG. He was like, look, man, I got this, and poor old Sal going out there just to put Colby in check, and then he gets put in check. So it was exactly that, a kerfluffle.
Yeah, and we love Colby. I respect him, whether or not we love his attitude or not. He's a fierce competitor. He's very intense, and it seems like, at least to me, that he's at a place where he's kind of looking to create some alliances. I don't know if you guys are sensing that. In Kentucky, he showed up with the Fixers, and even though he had to pay them supposedly to join him for that opening match against Pope. It looks like he's just looking for somebody to team up with, and he and JTG had that history in the tag team tournament, teaming up together, and they weren't half bad. I can tell you, as a tag team guy, I mean, they didn't get a victory, but they coexisted and they worked well together, it seemed like. But it seems like, for JTG, that chapter had closed and he was back, into his solo mindset. And but Colby was still looking to fortify some kind of relationship there. So but this turned into, as you said, Gary, just a kerfluffle.
Yeah. Let me add to that real quick, Gary, before you jump in. I don't have a particular problem with Colby's attitude. I think that's perfectly fine with what he's trying to achieve. And I'm not sure that he's necessarily looking for a relationship. I think that he's looking to be a factor. I think he wants to be a factor, which is why we see all these appearances, all this, he's trying to stir, he's trying to create a buzz around himself. And whether it be with the Fixers or here with JTG, he is trying to be a factor in the picture. And when you're somebody as hungry as Colby Corino, I can't necessarily dispute him for that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. It makes total sense. Colby's a bit of a wild card these days in the NWA, so it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out for him and what JTG decides to do with that. I guess we haven't seen a lot out of JTG, like as far as personality wise, like where he's leaning as far as his attitude and how he wants to conduct his business. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. I've heard it on good authority that both these men are going to be right there in December at the NWA studios in GPB. So we're gonna hear more from JTG and Colby Corino. So don't you worry about that. We'll learn more about both men. They will be there in Atlanta. So next up on the card here, we got Kenzie and Kiera. Kenzie Paige, Kiera Hogan. They had a big match. Two of the hottest female talent in wrestling right now, taking on each other one-on-one. An amazing match, back and forth. Not much you could say, just a quality wrestling match all the way around. And Kiera Hogan ended up taking the victory here over Kenzie Paige, which I'm sure was a big victory for her coming off that loss to Mickie James at the Powerrr episode. Kenzie Paige, unfortunately, had previously lost to Camille by any means necessary, so she's going to be looking for a comeback. But I'm sure we haven't seen the last out of either woman, but just curious your thoughts there, Doc, on Kenzie and Kiera.
I think you got to look at the losses that you both athletes coming in. I'm with you. These are two of my favorites. These are two of the brightest rising stars. But you got to kind of, when you're looking at a Kenzie Paige against a Camille and a Kiera Hogan against a Mickie James, you got to kind of weigh things a little bit differently, because you're talking about two prodigies, but relative novices against two of the most established and accomplished and decorated wrestlers in the world, both past and present. So I think that both Kiera and Kenzie, though they might have lost, they scored moral victories because that match with Mickey was so emotional and such a. I mean, we saw the footage there on the NWA socials and everything that Kiera just poured her heart out and her reaction to that. And then we've seen Kenzie handle Camille about as solidly as we've seen anybody, maybe except for Layla Hirsch or somebody like that. So you gotta give them some credit for attaining. Now they would tell you, no, a loss is a loss. But I think the three of us, being spectators and being sort of sitting in an analyst perspective, they scored moral points, moral victory points. They demonstrated their mettle, their toughness, their readiness to be in the same conversation with the upper echelon. So I think this match was natural. This should have occurred. We've been looking to see this, and they more than delivered. More than delivered.
Yeah, and guys, I guess here I see you guys talking about front row, talking about Kenzie can't seem to get a win. Well, she had a big win over Chelsea Green, so I mean, Kenzie's got the capability. I guess what I want to jump in and talk about right now is the next match, because there's no better time than right now to talk about Melina with the big victory over Skye Blue. And there's probably nobody better to come in and talk about something like that than, Melina's opponent at Hard Times 2 is officially announced. Melina's getting a title shot against Camille. And so we're lucky enough right now on the line. We've got Strictly Business with us right now. Camille and Tom Latimer are here.
Hello,
Boys.
How are we?
We're good.
Fantastic.
We're
fantastic.
feeling good.
Why have you got shades on?
Man, because
we want to know.
my eyes are so tired, man. I'm getting circles around my eyes, so this kind of makes me look. I thought cool until now.
No, they're cool, man. Keep them.
Tom, you look like you just woke up, so I'm not sure what we're talking about here.
Long weekend, Gaza. Long weekend. Not slept very much. Not for any particular reason other than just a lot of wrestling this weekend. So as soon as I got back, I went straight to work. So I've been cutting grass and planting trees all day. So that's why I look like this.
Well, I got to say, both of you, out of everybody in the NWA, nobody could doubt your work ethic. Both of you have been on the road doing stuff, representing well. Camille, you've been all over defending the women's championship. Tom, you were just out at RCW, I think, this past week.
We were both there together, yeah.
He was hybrid wrestling, too, the night before, and then RCW. And then I was in New York, and then RCW.
Good Lord. So, both of you have been all over the place, so that's pretty incredible. Tom, I do want to give you props. One of my greatest interview moments in the world. I appreciate you smiling today, but Piss Off Gary became very popular amongst all of the folks here, that especially last week.
It's a doggone hashtag.
Is my favorite out of the three of you. No offense, boys. It broke my heart to say that to you, really, Gary.
Piss Off Gary has it became we played that clip on the post show last week, and then it was just the whole chat was just Piss Off Gary the whole time. So
I'm sorry.
YouTube thought it was trolls and they were trying to moderate. Everybody was saying piss off. We had to keep improving the comments.
All right. Well, we welcomed you here for a reason, you guys. I know you've had a busy couple of weeks, and so you got a lot going on, so we don't want to keep you forever. But Camille, we found out tonight for certain your next opponent, you're defending the Burke against Melina. This is for sure at Hard Times 2, December the 4th.
Oh, did she win? I didn't even see she won.
She did beat Skye Blue. And,
okay.
The official announcement came through courtesy Joe Galley that you will be defending for sure against her. I was just curious. I mean that's a big match, and I know we've talked about it before a little bit, but I know that you're unbeatable. But is there at least a little respect for the fact that Melina has been all over, fought everybody? I respect
that she's as old as she is and she's still trying. Okay.
How old is she?
Oh,
She's not that old.
she call herself a legend. You
Right.
can only be old when you call yourself a legend.
Okay.
But yeah, so I respect that she's still trying. She's still out there and she's still trying, and I can respect that, you know. I sure can. And I know that, I mean, you guys have been wanting this match to happen, so I'm sure you're extremely happy about it. All you guys talk about is Melina and, you know, everybody else but the champ. So
well, I think that we just like to see you test your mettle against different opponents so that you can prove that you're the best. I don't know that it's necessarily we have any doubts ourselves. It's just that.
No, Gary, you've been singing that Melina chorus this whole time.
Thank you.
Ever since Melina inserted herself, and you were the first one to feel sorry for her, as though Camille went and provoked everything with her. You were the first one, Gary. So because they're here right now, don't pretend like suddenly, oh, you're all gaga for Camille.
Well,
Gary,
I mean, listen. Go ahead, Tom.
You're going to change the subject and we can go straight back into Melina. Is that a Christmas tree with Bret Hart on the top of it? What is that?
It is. So the wife, I was trying to explain this earlier, but the wife randomly moved a tree from downstairs so she could put up the Christmas tree. And she randomly moved this tree up into my office here that I have. And I have a Bret Hart stand up. So yeah, and then Captain Kirk's behind him. They're in a loving embrace.
Okay,
and
I thought it was pitched on top. I didn't realize it was behind. Okay, carry on. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Yeah, it is a life-size Bret Hart, and I'm agreeing. So that's
sorry, boy. I just had to, you know.
Anyway, well, no. I mean, what Doc's talking about is I was just like, you did take to heart some of the stuff Camille was saying. I feel like the wrestling business is a lot of talking crap about each other, and you came out and you laid hands on Melina immediately as soon as you felt like she had
because a lot of people talk crap in the wrestling business. A lot of people talk crap, and then they want to go online and talk crap on Twitter or, you know, whatever, and they don't actually do anything about it. I just do stuff about it. That's the difference.
Yeah, it wasn't Camille that interrupted Melina's coronation to start this whole thing, by the way. So when Camille came back and even the odds, Gary, you're the first one. Oh, I can't believe that she's the, oh my, this is horrible. But not a word about Melina. Gary, explain that.
Well, I mean, wrestling, you're supposed to be confident, I would imagine. Tom's very confident in his abilities. Camille's very confident in her abilities. Melina was simply talking about that she was confident in her abilities. And that, well, she did take issue, I think, at the time with Camille and a little bit of the way she was handling herself. And I mean, that's between the two of them. But you're shaking your head, man. I don't know what else to tell you. I'm just saying that like, I mean, clearly you don't talk about Camille. I would never in a million years. So I don't even know what to say anymore.
It's off, Gary. No, I'll chime in as the neutral between these two guys. I'm super excited to see this match, and I can see for sure both sides of it. I mean, things have heated up since Empower and NWA 73 and in this past season of Power, and you faced several different opponents, Camille, and you know this one is lining up to be, you know, the one that everybody's pining for. So you know, it's exciting to know that the match is actually going to happen. And despite all the extracurricular activity and the things we can argue about now, this will be settled once and for all in the ring. So you got to feel good about that, right?
That it will, yes. Just be able to shut some mouths and sit some people down.
Gary.
Yep. I'm with you. I just think it's going to be a good match. And I guess all I was trying to get out of you is that Melina is a person she's been in every company. She's done all this stuff. And relatively, like you're newer on the scene than Melina. And I get what you're saying about her. But it's just, you seem to be pretty confident that she's not going to pose any sort of a challenge to you. And so that's where I was going with that. I just wondered
if there was a little... in her head she's going to pose a challenge. And Melina is a crazy, crazy biatch, okay? So she might pull out some stuff that I'm not expecting. But the fact that I'm expecting the unexpected puts me ahead of it. So that's all I can say about that.
All right, that's the thing, and we can't disavow the fact that Melina's been in all these places and faced all these people, but she's never faced someone like Camille. She's never faced someone who's unbeatable ever, not once until now.
Did you bleep yourself then?
Yeah.
He did.
I'm a middle school principal.
Is that how you yell at the kids?
You are
Uh,
attention.
Well, Tom, since you seem to be in an awfully good mood tonight, I guess now's the time that we could ask you a little bit about your continuing disagreements with your, I guess, former best friend, Nick Aldis. Obviously, things didn't go strictly business way on by any means necessary with Nick and Trevor getting the win in that particular tag match. But I can't imagine that you feel like things are through with you and Nick, right?
There's still, we've not lost him yet, Gary. He's not, he can still be brought back. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's not, he's being pally with all the sorts of people that he wouldn't have been pallied before and things like that. But I mean, like, there's still time for him to get his act together and pull his head out of his arse and realize that he's making a bit of a mistake and a bit of a fool out of himself. You know what I mean? So, like, I'm still trusting he'll realize that me and Chris and whatnot, we have the best intentions out for him. He just seems to have lost his mind a little bit. So that, I mean, there's still hope that he'll see the light. But if he doesn't,
with Tom, I could care less what he does.
But if he doesn't, then it's on his head, isn't it? What can I do?
I mean, no pun intended here, but speaking of his head, like you're talking about best intentions for the guy, and Tom, you dropped him on his head,
That's
like on a steel chair.
We come from the UK. That's how we do things over there.
They're brothers, man. They fight hard, and they love hard. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I tell people I've got a scar right here on my head that my brother gave me, right here, 16 stitches that he gave me. And
I don't think we go an episode without you talking about it.
Well, good. People need to know, because we've been saying this the whole time. I think, Camille, you pointed it out a few weeks ago. Look, they're brothers. They sort things out this way. And right now, Nick has abandoned the business model that brought this team so much success. They've not. They're still carrying championship gold. She's still the thoroughbred. She's still the world's champion. We still got the national championship. We got Tom knocking on that door to be the next world's champion. So the business model that was in place that Nick was following worked. He veered off course, not them.
Yeah.
Why won't you say that, Gary?
I mean, that's how you eloquently put it, for sure.
But the thing is that in the infamous piss off Gary interview, I mean, we're talking about, like, right before that, you're like, you'll get it clear, if 2 weeks wasn't enough of being out, then how about forever? So that's the thing. There's no coexistence here. Like, there's,
I've got a little bit of time to relax. I mean, that was right after a match that I just lost, so I look like an idiot. You know what I mean? So I'm going to be hot. I'm going to be mad. I still stand by it. I'll still stamp on his head if he doesn't come to the light. I like I said, I've not. There's still time. There's still time for him to turn this around, and it all be a big mistake, and we can hug it out, or we don't. And like I said, again, that's on him. That's got nothing to do with me.
So based off of by any means necessary, if William Patrick Corgan were to, I don't know, like, book a match for Hard Times 2 on December 4th, and it happened to be you and Nick Aldis in the ring face to face, would you still be hoping for a hug it out moment? And like, what happens then if there's not one?
It depends. It all depends. It all depends.
Depends on what. You better beat his ass.
Of course, I'm going to do that.
Okay.
I'm just saying. An apology goes a long way. I mean, you have to do a little bit more than that. You have to do a bit of groveling, but he's got an ass whooping coming to him for sure, no matter what. But I mean, whatever Billy wants to do, I'm game for. So if it's me and if it's Nick, I mean, I can't wait to get my hands on him because I want to shake him till he comes and sees the light. You know.
Tom seems to be hanging on a lot too. That there's hope for Nick Aldis, but Camille, you seem a little further gone. Like you seem.
Oh
like
yeah, I'm the type of person that once someone's gone, they're gone. That's it. That's just how I live my life. I don't hold out hope for anybody. I don't care. If you're gone, you're gone. And Nick did his own thing, so bye. What do you got now? Nothing. You don't even have your title anymore. That's
and no acknowledgement at any point of Camille as the insurance policy. No acknowledgement of her of the role she played in that historic 1,044-day reign. It's just like, oh, off with them. Now I'm doing my own thing. Now I'm going to consort with Trevor Murdoch and these guys.
Yeah,
you know.
exactly.
And then you justify it, Gary, and you too, Will. You act like a neutral party, but you do too.
Look, I mean, I guess I'm just trying to say, like, it seems as though Nick's just come to a point where he's like looking back on his time as the champion and just trying to, you know, piece everything together. And he's having a lot of moments of like, I don't know. It seems like he's coming full circle and he's just trying to.
I think Nick was sad that nobody was liking him, and now he wants to be on everybody's good side all of a sudden. He just wants to be pals with everybody and have everyone talk about what a great guy he is because he realized no one was liking him and he couldn't stand it.
When you point this kind of stuff out, Doc, you know, I try not to let any of that. I don't want to think about this stuff. But I mean, you're right. You know, he didn't say anything. He didn't. You know, he's put himself in this situation. Maybe it's just because I'm still clinging on to the shred that we can figure this thing out, and I don't want to come to the realization that unfortunately that's the way it is. He's put himself in this situation, and I'm gonna have to run over him. And
I'm with you. I mean, I don't dislike Nick Aldis. I love the guy. You know, I think he did something important for this business. The Strictly Business was historic. It was earth-shattering. It was great. It was great for us as fans. But this isn't Dr. Phil here. This isn't counseling. This is professional sports. And if you're not gunning for championships, if you're not focused on winning, then you have no place here. And right now he's more interested in cozying up and feeling good and making amends, going on what I'm now calling the Nick Aldis apology tour, rather than showing gratification and gratitude to you, Tom, to you, Camille, for the role that you played in making this one of the most elite companies in the history of pro wrestling. That's where my frustration's at. And then you got goons like Will and Gary that sit there and coddle him and are happy now that he's so happy and he's hugged, you know, he's cozy Nick Aldis now.
Well, no, hold on a second, because we're talking about a guy that Tom and Nick were best friends. Tom and Nick grew up together. They came up in this business together. As has been pointed out many times before, Tom is the best man at Nick Aldis's wedding. I mean, these guys obviously care a lot about each other. The thing I'm getting at is that at what point does this business and the way you conduct yourself in this business trump your friendship, your relationship?
Is that a question for me or is that a question for Tom?
It's a question for Tom, really, but I'm saying you're acting like this makes no sense. I'm saying in normal society, I mean, you know, like maybe your business interests part, but does that mean your friendship has to? Like you just are ready to drop your friend on his head and you're ready to end his career over the fact that his decisions aren't the same as yours?
It's all in the heat of the moment, Gary. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah. Ultimately, yeah, it boils down to that, boils down to money, it boils down to opportunity, it boils down to how she feels about stuff. There's a lot of parts in it. Obviously, there's a piece of me that, yeah, he's, you know, he was my best mate. And so, you know, and I've lost a lot of friends through the years, through a lot of fault of my own. And I just don't want this to be another one. But I feel like that this is something that he's done. It's something that he's brought upon himself. You know, like I said, there's a part of me, tiny little wee piece that still thinks that he can turn it around. If he can't, then bleep him. You know?
I was gonna say bleep him.
Yeah, then bleep him. Not as good as you, Doc.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? And it is what it is, you know. I just you know, it's because I've got such a big heart.
It is
I'm
big.
such a nice guy that I still want to think that he's gonna just, you know, the light bulb will go off and everything will be okay, but it's not. So, you know, no matter how many times I got to drop him on his head, and then if it's me and him at this pay-per-view, then I'll drop him on his head as many times as it takes until he's dead. You know, I mean, if no light bulb goes off, you got to keep going.
I guess until you put the lights out completely. That's pretty
Again,
impressive.
but that's on him though, isn't it? If someone's dropping me on my head 20 times, eventually I go, you know what, whatever you want.
And Camille, you're backing this up completely, huh?
Oh yeah, this I don't have friends because I don't care. You got to do what you got to do.
All right,
And that's the focus that made her a champion.
Yep.
And so at some point along the way, Nick Aldis lost that focus.
All right. Well, fellas, you have anything else for Strictly Business here tonight? Because we don't want to take up too much of their time, and I definitely don't want to upset them now.
No, I'm just anxious to see what's going to happen in Atlanta. I mean, regardless of whether or not that's a match we see, regardless of what happens, we're all going to be in Atlanta together. You guys are going to be there, and Nick's going to be there. So, you know, something's going to happen. I have a feeling that it's not just going to be you guys passing each other in the locker room and, you know, acting like nothing's going on. So just like we were talking about with Camille and Melina, they're going to settle this in the ring. I would have to believe that something is going to happen to settle this. But, you know, Nick Aldis aside, as much as we like to harp on that, you know, you guys are Strictly Business have made it clear that with or without Nick Aldis, you guys are there. And the business plan is there, staying the same, chasing championships. 2 out of 3 of you have championships. And as you know, Gary, or as Rob mentioned, you know, Tom, you're knocking on the door. So, you know, whether or not things get resolved with Nick, you guys still obviously have your sights set on, you know, moving up the ladder. So it's going to be exciting to see.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
All right.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's a Billy conspiracy why I don't have a belt, isn't it? But we won't go
No
there.
doubt.
We
Well
won't go there.
documented. Well documented conspiracy.
It does feel like Tom Latimer would be next in line for a title shot, especially assuming that if it's not at Hard Times 2, which I guess tonight we found out it's Mike Knox who stepped in and is taking that shot. But whoever comes out of that, you'd have to think Tom Latimer is definitely in a spot to be the next challenger for sure.
Well, it depends. You know,
See, baby, you attacked the wrong person. You should have attacked Trevor, I guess, and all of a sudden Billy will give you a title shot.
I guess
That's how it's working, I guess.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah. See, I you know, do things the correct way, and what does it get you? You know,
Nothing with Billy.
go Knox though, you know. Atta boy.
I guess so.
You know what I mean? That's a page out of my book. I mean, you know, I can't take anything away from it at the end of the day. I'd have done the same thing. You know what I mean? I'm just above that. You know what I mean? But, hey, thank you, though, Will. And Doc, bring me those shades at the.
They're yours, man. They're yours.
All right. Well, thank you, Tom and Camille, for taking some time out of your day to come hang out with us. I know you're very tired and busy, and so we appreciate you taking a moment for the people here.
Thank you guys so much for having us.
You're welcome.
I love all 3 of you.
Well, thanks, Tom. We love you too. And,
even Gary,
Especially Gary.
oh, okay.
all right. Well,
Hey,
can we
give us a piss off Gary real quick.
What? Off Gary. I don't want to get kicked off YouTube. I'm
PG.
above that.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Oh. Oh, I really hope that was an accident.
So let's leave it like this. Now we can really talk.
Oh, we had the real show going.
I pissed off.
That
It was.
was great.
That's a my bad.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Now you guys leave.
Yeah,
All
actually, bye.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
man.
that's a my
Ah,
bad.
the new bearded trio.
That was it. Oh
Will
man.
and Doc
Well,
and
big thanks to Tom Latimer and Camille for hanging out with everybody for just a minute. They were on a tight schedule, so yeah. Now the one thing we won't disagree on Doc, is that, well, like Front Row says here in the chat, Tom's day as champ is coming. Tom Latimer,
No
I have no doubt, is on a collision course with the 10 pounds of gold at some point.
Yeah, it's we say it many times. It's become a catchphrase here. It's a mathematical certainty. It's a simple mathematical equation. It must happen. It will happen. And going back to Kamille and Melina, it's not that I'm not, looking forward to seeing this matchup and how this plays out. It's just the narrative leading up to it that kind of rubs me wrong, as though like Melina is this innocent person who's been hunting and has been out there paying dues and this and that. When I think the one that's out there working hard, and you said it, one of the hardest working people in pro wrestling is Kamille. She's done everything that she's had to do to earn the respect, and I'm just not seeing the love given to her. She's the world's champion. Melina, all due respect to her, she is a legend. But right now, the most respect in the world is due to Kamille, who is the holder of the most prestigious championship, and she earned it. There is no smudge or no stigma about this particular reign. There's no, oh, she did this, or she took this shortcut. No, she earned it. She is the toughest woman in the world, and she earns, the right to call herself the holder of the most prestigious crown in the sport, and she deserves the respect of everybody, including a legend like Melina.
There's no way I'm going to talk trash in the way that says that Kamille doesn't deserve that title. I don't believe for a second that she doesn't deserve it. Kamille defeated, as we recall, Thunder Rosa, who was a dominant champion, and dispensed with her and won the Burke and has held it high since. And no shortcuts. I can't say anything about Camille's reign as champion except that she's been dominant. So there's nothing else to say there.
Yeah,
well, that's where Melina's got to kind of hone in her talk. I'm sorry, Will. I'll let you get your word in here. But she, Melina speaks about she doesn't like the way that Kamille carries herself. She doesn't like the way that she doesn't leave something for the next one to come up. And all these things that are they're insulting to Kamille and to the position that she holds and that she earned. She earned it. She earned, and by virtue of the fact that she earned it, it should come with Melina's respect. And I just don't feel it's coming that way.
Well, I mean, like Gary said, I mean, she beat Thunder Rosa to get the title shot. She beat Serena Deeb to get the title. That's no small feat in and of itself, just to beat those two ladies. And then she's successfully defended it a number of times. Kenzie Paige, Layla Hirsch, Chelsea Green. I mean, she's had some notable defenses. I don't think, and I'm not disagreeing with you, Rob, that we've been critical of, the sneak attack and things like that. But I don't think we've ever been dismissive of the respect that Kamille is afforded. I think we've all pretty much agreed that she's earned that title. There was nothing, sketchy about it. There was nothing questionable about it. She really did it. Even Gerrymander Joe, as you like to call him, acknowledged that after When Our Shadows Fall, when she became champion, that she did it the right way. And I think we all agree on that. I think for us, it's, as Gary was trying to
and Will, if I could just say real quick too, Polio Del Mar in the chat, and grateful to have Polio here, but has corrected me. It was not Thunder Rosa that Kamille defeated. It was Serena Deeb. And so I apologize. That is correct. She did defeat Serena Deeb, but arguably even more of an accomplishment because she's defeated Thunder Rosa and defeated Serena Deeb for that title. But go ahead, Will. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's, to me, it's just a match that I want to see. And I think the only thing that I really took issue with was the sneak attack. And I know that's how Kamille does things. And I do have a certain level of respect for that, but it's just not the way that I would have handled that situation. So we can agree to disagree on little things like that. But I don't think any of us are questioning, the respect that's afforded to Kamille as the holder of that. Just like we never, when Nick was the champion, we never, none of us ever, whether we were critical of the things he said and the way he carried himself or conducted business at the time, none of us, took anything away from him as champion. And it's the same thing for Kamille. So for me, it's just a match that I'm ready to see. I think there's been just a lot of tension brewing, and I'm a wrestling fan. I like to see it settled in the ring.
And I'm with you. I give my full endorsement to this match. I give my full endorsement to the antics or the tactics or the stratagem that Camille has adopted leading up to this, just like I give my full endorsement to everything that Nick Aldis did up until the chase. And by the way, I give my full endorsement to the correction by Pollo Del Mar, because it was just a few months ago where the Doc and Pollo Del Mar shut down St. Louis. It was a great night.
All right, well, let's talk about the final match on this card tonight on Powerrr.
Yes, let's do
the final match. Actually, I don't want to skip over BLK Jeez and
Yuma.
Dinero de la Iglesia. Church's money, BLK Jeez.
Ah.
Yeah. He was in a matchup against Captain Yuma, and that actually was a fantastic match. If you guys haven't seen it, you need to go back and watch BLK Jeez versus Yuma. Both those guys have been throughout the season. This season have been participating in things. You haven't seen Jeez in the ring as much, but you got a real opportunity to see how incredible he really is when he steps in between the ropes in the squared circle. And he's fantastic. He ends up taking out Yuma here, who's also proven to be an excellent athlete in the ring, and hits the what does he call his move? It was in Jeez We Trust. It's a frog splash on Yuma, but chooses not to finish him that way, by the way. Picks him back up, and I guess because his partner Tyrus is hanging out at ringside, decides to go ahead and also nail that heart punch, which is just right about the right angle, and fit Yuma there and gets the 1, 2, 3. So props to BLK Jeez with a big win over Captain Yuma in this one.
Yeah, it's a great match. I enjoyed it. Doc won't like this, but I enjoyed it because I muted it, so I didn't have to hear the commentary from Austin Idol. But yeah, it was a great showing from both these guys, and it was interesting to see those. We're used to seeing them in tag teams, or we've seen BLK Jeez in some I don't want to say gimmick matches, not necessarily, but matches that didn't really have a finish, or weren't your traditional wrestling matches. So to see both these guys in a match like this and be competitive was pretty cool.
And I know that you're an expert in SPO and all that stuff that you do with the internets and MySpace and all that stuff, but you cannot mute Austin Idol unless you want to just disacknowledge a graduate level education in pro wrestling, which is what you got if you listen to Austin Idol's commentary. That point to the side, fantastic match. Both of these two guys are very athletic. They're of similar stature, similar ability. It was a really fun, entertaining match. And, everything related to the quality and the technique of the match, I agree with you, Will.
Well, it's funny you brought that up, Doc, is that, I mean, hell, we hear constantly online and everywhere else, like people get a little irritated with Austin Idol, because he is a talker. That's how he's made his living. But, I mean, the thing about the way he talks, like people think he's pretty braggadocious, but there's the old Kid Rock lyric, it ain't bragging if you back it up. So there he is, Austin Idol, with one of the hottest factions in wrestling right now, and Tyrus sitting there undefeated as the NWA TV champ, and BLK Jeez here with a huge win, just dominant over Yuma. Jordan Clearwater always performing at least 134%. And so, it's hard to disagree with Austin Idol's methods at this point. His boys are doing the deal. So
he got a formula, man, and it's working.
Yeah. Pollo Del Mar talking about in the chat. That's the person who made Pollo fall in love with wrestling. Hates the bickering at commentary, which, I get it. Austin Idol and Velvet do not get along. That is certainly a thing. All right, let's talk about the finals of the tag team tournament. We've come a long way, and here we are, the End versus Hawx, Aerie, and this was a hell of a matchup, these two in the finals, to find out who's going on to Hard Times 2 to take on Mecha Wolf and Bastia 666 for the NWA Tag Team Gold. It's the NWA Tag Team titles have never felt hotter than they do right now. I tell you what. And here we go. Two legitimate teams. I've seen that complaint before, back when Kratos and Stevens were holding them. No, everybody involved in the situation right now is a legitimate tag team. Focus on tag team wrestling. One of the things I loved in the commentary position, William Patrick Corgan on commentary in this one. He even lets you in on a little inside baseball, talking about how when he booked that match way earlier that Doc was on commentary for, by the way, with Odinson versus Nick Aldis, that they pulled Corgan aside and didn't want to even do that match, not because anybody was scared, but just because they're a tag team. They don't do the singles thing. That's not what their sights are set on. So he had to fight with them and convince them to do that. So that's pretty telling about how important tag team wrestling is to a lot of these people. And here you go, 2 legitimate tag teams, father and son, Hawx Aerie taking on the Odinson Powerrr, who have just been dominant everywhere they go. And the way this match goes is it's hard to argue that it was anything less than that. Odinson Powerrr, Hawx Aerie put up a hell of a fight, but Odinson Powerrr just too much for these two. Like, they're just two beefy boys. And at the end of the day, Luke Hawx goes for a springboard. Looks like he's trying to hit a Hurricane Rana there and gets caught and hoisted up on the shoulders of Powerrr. Doomsday Device type move. I say type because Odinson hits that spinning European uppercut type move there instead of the clothesline like Hawk used to do. But either way, it's successful. 1, 2, 3. The End defeats Hawx Aerie, and the End are headed to Hard Times 2 to take on La Rebellion. And you want to talk about a scary matchup. That's it right there.
This match has been a long time coming. This is the match that I have wanted to see throughout this whole tag team tournament. And, almost every conversation we've had about it, speculating about who we think would win. I mean, for me, there's a lot of teams that could have won this tag team tournament. I think the End were my favorites all throughout. And so, it makes sense that they won. But I mean, just out of all of those teams, if you're picking a team specifically to go up against La Rebellion at a pay-per-view, this is the match that you want to see. You want to see Powerrr and Odinson, the End, these dudes who don't take anything from anybody. They steamroll everybody they get in the ring with. And then on the other side of the ring, you got the same thing in La Rebellion. They came into the NWA, started doing the same thing, steamrolling everybody, getting involved in matches, in the tag team division and making themselves known. And what do you know? They end up as the champions. Now they're taking those titles all over the world, as NWA champions should. And so now we've got this epic clash coming up at Hard Times 2. And for me, you guys know how I am with tag team wrestling. I mean, this is my main event right here. This is the match that I have been dying to see for months and months, ever since we were in St. Louis. And it's finally going to happen. So I couldn't be happier. I love that this was the main event of PowerrrSurge. And despite all this, taking nothing away from Hawx Aerie, because those guys are their father and son, man. Listen, I got kids. That's a connection that you can't imitate. You can't replicate outside of that. And, they did everything they could. And they made it to the finals, and that's nothing to hang their head about. I don't think this is the last time that we're going to be talking about Hawx Aerie and the NWA tag team championships in the same sentence or the same conversation. So I think, stay tuned for that. But right now it's all about the End and La Rebellion and Hard Times 2. And I have no prediction as to how that match is going to come out, because it could literally go either way, or it could just be a total disaster because these guys could just demolish each other. So I'm so looking forward to this.
Well, I don't think you're wrong about Hawx Aerie. I think we're going to see more out of them. That's their whole thing. They get back up. They go back to the
lab.
Go back to the lab. Exactly. Yeah, they come back. Doc, I gotta ask you. I mean, when you've talked about La Rebellion early on in their appearances in the NWA, you talked about no other team. And I mean, a lot of people might not put this together, but it makes more and more sense the more you see them, that no other team feels like the Road Warriors, like La Rebellion does. And here they are. I think the only other team somebody could argue would be like, oh, well, have you seen the End? And here they are, even with the Doomsday Device off the top rope. Like, there you go. Yep. So what happens when the Road Warriors take on the Legion of Doom? Like, what ends up going down there?
Oh, man. I have to agree with both of you on your analysis here about what's in store here. You've got, and Will, I think you probably agree with this assessment here. I think you've got a lot of tag teams. Like I said, we woke up one day and suddenly the tag team division in the NWA was the hottest in the whole world, bar none. But when I look at the landscape, I see 4 tag teams really that stand out to me, and there are others. And this is not an insult to anybody else, but I see obviously La Rebellion, who I think is right now in 2021 is the closest comparison alive to the Road Warriors. You've got The End, Otis and Imperial, which I think are right there. Then you've got Hawx, Aerie, who have that natural blood-born chemistry. And then you've got Aaron Stevens and Kratos. Now, of those 4 teams, one of them is not a natural team, and that's Aaron Stevens and Kratos. They've accomplished a lot, not because of their combination, but in spite of it. Okay, now we've not heard the last one, though, I promise you. But then that brings us to those 3. Hawx, Aerie, take them out of the equation. Guess what? They're going back to the lab. Like they've said before, they're going to get back up. They're going to dust themselves off. They will be back in the equation. And do not be shocked if in the next year or sometime soon you see them wearing those belts. Don't be shocked. I'm just telling you, you heard it here first. But, man, this tag team tournament's been going on forever, it seems like, longer than the Conspiracy Series. And it boils down to this. When the dust settles, what we have is really, honestly, you're 100% right, Will. I can't agree with you more. You got the 2 most ruthless tag teams, the 2 most natural tag teams. They have been doing this. This is what they do. They are tag teams. I was there. I heard the conversation between William Patrick Corrigan and Odinson, and I heard it with my own eyes before I got on that commentary booth. They didn't want to get on that match because they are a tag team. And guess what? La Rebellion are a tag team. That's what they do. And so we're going to see 2 of the best in the world, 2 of the most brutal, 2 of the most physical, square out, one-on-one, face-to-face, well, 2-on-2, I guess, at Hard Times 2, it's going to be phenomenal. And, I don't know, and I have to agree with Gary here. What happens when you put 2 brutal teams? What happens when you put Demolition against the Road Warriors? Well, they may just tear down the GPB. This may be the last event ever held at GPB. We don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to be phenomenal. It's going to be historic, and you do not want to miss it.
I would. Polio's asking Doc, what is it about La Rebellion that strikes you as comparable to the Road Warriors?
Well, it's not the size. Certainly the aesthetic has something to do with it. I think the paint, the fact that a lot of their mystique has to do with fear and intimidation. They're very intimidating. They're very scary. And the fact, if you look at their first, here's where the reminder for me came in. Their first 3 or 4 appearances when in the NWA, they didn't come in and they weren't concerned one bit about winning or losing. They came in to beat up people. And you remember back in the early days, I'm not talking about like 86, 87. I'm talking about 83, 84, 85, when the Legion of Doom was first being formed by Precious Paul Ellering. Hawk and Animal, just part of the Legion of Doom, would come in and they would just lay waste to people, just throw people out, beat up people. They didn't care about anything. And then once they established that intimidation factor, then the psychological game started to come into play. Obviously, strength played a big factor because no one will ever tell you that the Road Warriors were this great technical tag team. That's the big difference because La Rebellion is a very technical tag team. But a lot of the tactics, a lot of the aesthetic and the intimidation, to me, I think nobody pulls that off quite like – I've never felt as scared of a tag team before until now. I was afraid of the Road Warriors. And when I see La Rebellion, I see them. I'm back there. We're back there trying to get footage. And that's the team that we're like, hey, Gary, Will, should we get these guys? We're like, nah.
Should we talk to
We're not going to get them.
Should we bother them?
I got to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, I got to. Yeah.
It's the
same way with the end too. Like both of those teams are that way. So
yeah.
Once you catch them like right in the zone, like when La Rebellion puts on the paint, it's over right then. When the paint comes on, there's no more joking around, no more just tiptoeing around, getting catering, no more of that stuff. La Rebellion means business. They're there to beat people up. And man, that's it. Doc, you made a good point. I mean, right when they first started in, as soon as they appeared on NWA Powerrr, that's what they were doing. They were just interfering in matches and just like destroying. They just wanted to beat people.
If I'm not mistaken, I mean, Doc, you're the the NWA encyclopedia over there, so I might have a couple of things mixed up. But I feel like the last season of Powerrr that took place in Atlanta, we had La Rebellion versus the End, and it went to a no finish. The ref threw it out because it got so brutal. So this won't be the first time that these four men step into the ring together, but hopefully it will be the first time that we actually get to a finish. If we can, I don't know if they need 3 or 4 refs out there or what, if there's any stipulations. I know La Rebellion has been involved in a lot of lucha rules style matches and stuff like that. So, all of that kind of stuff is TBD still, but this isn't their first rodeo with each other. So it's going to be brutal.
Yeah. And so Polio's talking about the psychological element. Exactly. It's the physical is tougher. You'd get that more from the End.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, this is just me. This is just the vibe it gives me. I mean, I remember being a kid at the Cumberland County Memorial Arena in Fayetteville, North Carolina, living there in the 80s and seeing Hawk and Animal come through. I haven't felt that way. I mean, there have been a lot of teams. There have been teams that are probably technically more superior to the Road Warriors and this and that, but I've never felt like terrified by a team like I have with La Rebellion. And Polio DeMar can tell you because she was there. We're in the bars hanging out in St. Louis. La Rebellion walk in and the place goes quiet. They go quiet because they're afraid. Like, these guys might come in. They're not nice guys. They're not there to make friends. They're there to quench that thirst and bounce. But it's like they walk in and a hush settles over the audience or the crowd. And in this case, a crowd of their peers. So they're scary guys, man. They're intense. They're NWA World Tag Team Champions for a reason. And are they identical to the Legion of Doom, the Road Warriors? No, they're not. Nobody will ever be. But I'm gonna tell you right now, 20 years from now, people will be saying that same thing about La Rebellion. They'll be saying the same kinds of things. There'll never be another La Rebellion. And I think just we're seeing something really unique in history that doesn't happen very often. But you could also be saying the same thing about the End too.
Yeah. There you go. I mean, another team that's what I love about both teams is that they're not content to just prove themselves in just small arenas. They're traveling the world right now. If you've been following the End and La Rebellion, they're literally traveling the world, in Japan and Mexico and everywhere. These guys are proving themselves against all competition anywhere they can.
That's how it should be.
They're not afraid.
That's how it should be. What's it called? It's called the NWA what? Tag Team Championship?
The World.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's how it should be.
Yeah,
right.
That's it. So another thing, so that's it. So I mean, that's it for this PowerrrSurge show. So we're gonna throw it out there. I mean, you guys, we can talk about here. I'll just go ahead and throw it up on the thing. Where's it at? So let's talk about anything. One thing I do want to talk about, we're going to get buried if we don't talk about it right now. You want to talk about scary? A person who's super scary is Attila Khan. Look at that guy. Attila Khan is going to be the first competitor for Trevor Murdoch's 10 pounds of gold. So we're doing a lot of talking about Trevor Murdoch and Mike Knox after this episode. But yeah, there you go. There's Animal right there. But Trevor Murdoch has to beat this guy first. Attila Khan in St. Louis on December the 1st. SICW. That's the real deal right there. Attila Khan, SICW, all about some Harley Race. So Harley Race, it's tough because you can't talk about Trevor Murdoch and not talk about Harley Race. And you can't talk about St. Louis without talking about Harley Race. Harley Race, his legacy, the more and more I learn about Harley Race, the more I think he could be possibly the greatest wrestler that ever lived. But this guy, I mean, Attila Khan is wanting to challenge Trevor Murdoch on his home turf, St. Louis. It's both their home turfs. So, Trevor Murdoch's walking around being the representative for St. Louis. Attila Khan's in SICW and welcoming Trevor Murdoch back to say, we'll come home and prove it. Prove this is your home territory. Prove what you're doing. You're going to say you represent us. Well, I'm the baddest man on the block here. And so Trevor Murdoch's going to go do it. He's going to have to go take on Attila Khan December the 1st for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. This is going to be a big match.
Yeah, I think for Trevor, it took us a little bit to get here, but now he's fully stepped into this role as NWA World's Heavyweight Champion, where there's a target on your back. Not only does he have, as we saw tonight, Mike Knox to deal with. That match has been set again. If he's still champion, Mike Knox wants a shot at that title. We got Attila Khan, days before that. So Trevor's kind of been thrown into the deep end here as champion, and this will be his first real test, kind of trial by fire of how he's going to conduct himself as champion, how he's going to handle these threats from multiple angles. I don't think you get to where Trevor is without knowing your way around this kind of stuff. And so it's definitely going to be an uphill climb and something we all need to watch closely. But it's going to make or break Trevor's, first run as the NWA World Heavyweight Champion.
And I got to give my hats off to Trevor here. We've been talking about this. We allowed Nick Aldis to come in and distract him from his obligation as champion for a few weeks here. But Trevor now is walking into the ring in an SICW matchup. This is a promotion co-founded by the legendary Bruiser Brody, by the way. And Attila Khan self-consciously sees him as a descendant of that tradition, much like Trevor Murdoch sees him as descended from the tradition of Harley Race. So we've got a clash of two different styles, very divergent personalities, different level. It's astonishing to me because I don't think anybody looks at Trevor Murdoch as this elite tactician. They look at Trevor Murdoch as this really tough guy, a competitor who puts his heart on the line. But in this case, he's the scientific wrestler going up against Attila Khan. And I'm going to tell you, I don't know, maybe we can get with the front office and see if we can't get a copy of that contract. I don't know if the contract is for if Mike Knox gets a title match regardless of who the champion is, but I'm just going to tell you, it is not a foregone conclusion that Trevor Murdoch is going to show up 3 days later after this SICW event wearing that 10 pounds of gold, because I've seen the stuff that Certified Hustler has been putting out. I've seen this guy. I've been watching the footage as much as I can get my hands on. Attila Khan is a real deal. And this is not going to be a cakewalk. Trevor Murdoch may not survive this match. If he does, salute him, hats off to him for taking this match. I wouldn't have taken it if I were him. I wouldn't have advised him to, but he's done it, and I respect him for it. But he may not show up in Atlanta as the champion. It may be Mike Knox versus Attila Khan, depending on what the contract says.
Either way, it's going to be brutal. To the big Texan in the chat right now saying it will be bloody. So that's going to be an exciting matchup for sure. You guys, if you're in the St. Louis area, you got to get tickets for SICW. You got to you got to get in there and see that matchup. That's going to be huge. That's part of NWA history, by the way. That's the other thing. You're witnessing history at SICW. They're also inducting, I saw lots of people, Larry Matisick and Sam Muchnick into the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame. Maybe even missing names there, but there's a lot going on there that night. So that's a big deal. Herb Abrams carrying on that legacy very, very well in St. Louis. SICW, you don't want to miss it. Trevor Murdoch showing up to show out with Attila Khan.
That's right. And a big shout out you got Big Texan in the chat too, along with Certified Hustler. And big shout out to those guys for what they're doing in St. Louis to keep the St. Louis wrestling tradition alive. They do have a podcast that they've been doing. I think they're on episode 5 or 6 now. And these are deep dives into all things SICW. You can look in the chat, Certified Hustler or Big Texan. You can put it in there. I believe it. If you go to Certified Hustler's YouTube channel, you can see these chats or these podcasts that they're doing. They're putting in the hours, man, because I'm talking about each episode is about an hour and a half. They're like old school TIPW Sunday night stuff, man. It's a time investment, but it's good stuff. It's quality, and they are doing a lot for pro wrestling there in St. Louis, and to the extent that we can keep that relationship with them alive, I think that's all the better for the NWA.
Yeah, absolutely. And props to Hustler, Big Texan, Herb Simmons, like all of those guys out there. St. Louis wrestling is alive and well, and so glad to see it part of the NWA tradition as well. So this is good stuff. Yeah, and Mickey Garagiola, am I saying that right? I'm not familiar with him as much. and Bob Orton Jr., Ron Powers. Yes, I want to give respect to those names that Certified Hustlers mentioned there. But yeah, most of all, Herb Simmons. Thanks so much for doing this, Herb. You're killing it out there in St. Louis. Another thing I want to bring up. I mean, we've tossed this around, but we would be remiss if we don't mention that Mike Knox has officially challenged Trevor Murdoch for the NWA World's title. I mean, this is the thing. You want to come around talking about you're a descendant of Harley Race and you're part of that school of wrestling, then you're going to get things like Mike Knox showing up who happen to disagree like this.
Trevor Murdoch, you are no champion. Not in my eyes. I do not recognize you as the champion, the NWA champion. You love to flaunt your mentor, Harley Race, around. All you do is talk about him. Harley Race this and Harley Race that. I loved Harley Race too. I am here to remind you of something though, my friend. You are not Harley Race. You're not half the man Harley Race was. Harley Race was tough, a man's man. I do not see that in you. I just don't. I have great news. On December 4th, I'm coming to Hard Times. Well, great news for me. Horrible news for you. You know what you've done. You deserve this. I almost feel bad. But not really. Hard times, baby. Hard times.
Headed out here to my workshop and I get an email from the NWA. They said they have a response from Mike Knox on why he did what he did to me by any means necessary. Mike, I'm watching that video, and to watch and see how calm and casual you are about the fact you walked in there after the show, threw my kid to the ground, locked me in a cage, and then proceeded to go yard on me with a steel chair. And then you have the audacity to question whether or not I'm a tough guy, if I'm a real man. Last time I checked, you came up from behind me. You hit me from behind. You talk about hard times, Mike. You talk about hard times. December 4th. If I get the opportunity, and pray to God I do, Billy Corrigan, NWA Board of Directors, I want Mike Knox December 4th at Hard Times. I want to settle this in the ring like a grown-ass man. And Mike, if you have a set between your legs, you'll be standing in that ring waiting for me. What you did to me and to my son, you will pay for. Everybody's a tough guy, Mike, until you meet one.
Well, that was Trevor Murdoch talking about his opportunity. Like he hoped, he prayed to God he gets a chance at Mike Knox. That was officially announced tonight on PowerrrSurge. He's got it. Trevor Murdoch versus Mike Knox for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship, assuming Trevor Murdoch shows up to Hard Times 2 with the 10 pounds of gold. So that is some clarification that would be interesting, Doc. We're going to find out after December 1st how those plans continue or change based on how things go with the Telecon. Trevor Murdoch, though, you want to talk, if you had a problem with Trevor Murdoch winning at NWA 73, winning the world's heavyweight title, and you thought he needed to get back into business here with the world's heavyweight championship, well, he's about to have two hosses he's got to go through in December, right at the top of December. Trevor Murdoch ain't joking around. So you got both promos there for Mike Knox and Trevor Murdoch. Also, some Doc peeing there if you missed that too.
So what now?
Well, in between those two videos, we definitely heard a little tinkle.
I thought somebody just had like a Zen garden going, a rock fountain. It was nice.
I'm gonna say, man, Trevor Murdoch's got a bad week. He's got a bad week in store for him that first week. That first week of the season.
Saying Felt like somebody was pouring another beer. That's what it was. Anyway.
A lot of piss talk lately.
Yeah, that's it. But man, you talk about by any means necessary. When the Fixers came out, they were like, "We'll go piss in ROH's ring," and then OGK was like, "I'm pissed off." I say piss, and then Tom Latimer with piss off Gary. It's the new theme.
Full circle.
Yeah.
What, did my mic not get muted or anything?
No,
sir, that wasn't no mute on that.
Those headphones, they follow you.
Oh, okay. Good thing I wasn't going number 2, man.
I just went straight into the next.
What I miss?
I just went straight into the next video. I'm like, well, Doc's tinkling. So we'll keep moving.
Oh man. Well,
anyway,
what a show
so far. Yeah, thank you guys for being here. Let's look at the chat for a second. Let's throw this out. Certified, you guys coming to St. Louis December 1st, we coming to Atlanta. Nah, man, I ain't coming to St. Louis. I wish I could. If you want to pay for my flight and everything, then I'd love to go. I'd love to be there for history, especially if Attila Khan's going to take that NWA World Heavyweight Championship. Let's see here. Man, I wish we could go to St. Louis. We got to get ready because we got to be there December 3rd through the 6th. And so, like, this is going to be days each day.
One day, Big Tex, and this will be our full-time job, hopefully. But right now, man, we all got other obligations, and that December 1st date's just way too close to December 4th. Actually, we got to be in Atlanta like the 2nd, like the next day. So, it's whew.
Yeah, it's just part of the deal. You guys rep in St. Louis. We'll rep NWA down in Atlanta this time, and we'll meet up again when we cross paths. I'm sure NWA is going to be back up in the chase at some point, so it's going to be exciting. Is Hard Times happening on the same weekend as WrestleCade? James Lawrence saying that. I didn't even realize that was the same weekend if it was. Anyway, that's crazy because a lot of guys are going to WrestleCade, aren't they?
Oh,
looking it up. I'm looking it up.
It's in Winston-Salem, so that's an easy transport. If they
that's November 26th through 28th.
Week before.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it's the week before James Lawrence WrestleCade is. Let's see here. And certified. I know you coming.
Hey, just remember the date, certified. Don't show up a day early like last time.
Yeah, certified be getting there early. Certified will get there the day before.
Yeah.
So you gotta watch out.
That's commitment.
He was like, I'm already celebrating outside Valor Hall. Like he's getting down.
I mean, we've kind of danced around it a little bit, and I think it's kind of implied at this point, but tickets are on sale. If you guys, I'm sure everybody knows that if you follow NWA on social media and are tuned. I mean, the tickets are on sale at nwatix.com. So if you're on the fence about it, don't be on the fence. You need to be in Atlanta. This is the holy ground for the NWA. This is home base. It's really fun to go to St. Louis and Kentucky and all these places. But, man, there's nothing like being at the GPB studios with all of us hanging out for four straight days of history and professional wrestling. So, yeah, make it happen. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait to be there with you guys. Hopefully Gary won't be drinking rainwater the whole time, but we'll see.
Well, I certainly won't be drinking it the whole time, but yeah. The thing is Will's right. I mean, it's going to be history for sure. You're going to be at Hard Times too. You're going to see the NWA title on the line, no matter who's in the match. You're going to see the tag team titles defended. You're going to see the TV title defended. By the way, one person we haven't mentioned so far is Tyrus is going to be defending that TV title. We've known that from early on, and our boy Scion. I mean, he sent this in earlier today.
When you first met me, everything was a mystery, but the message has always been the same. I'm here in the NWA to become a champion. And at 6'8", 350 pounds, Tyrus, you stand in my way. Don't take my absence on this show as giving up. Take it as preparing. I'm preparing to lose. I'm preparing to take the biggest beating of my life. I'm preparing to leave Atlanta, Georgia with a lump in my throat, that feeling that you failed. Because that's the mindset you need. This isn't something that I need. It's something that I want. I let my guard down before, and it's never going to happen again. The anger, the aggression that you've seen in me since I've gotten here in the NWA is only going to get worse.
So, Scion with a very threatening video message you sent in earlier today. So
there's something, there's something scary, so to speak, about, it's one thing to be certain that you're going to win and overly confident. We see that a lot with a lot of wrestlers, but there's something different and scary about not being afraid to lose against someone like Tyrus, and the acknowledgement that this isn't something that he wants, or it's not something that he needs, because so many times we hear guys saying, I need a title, I need this chance. No, this is something that he wants. So he's coming from a completely different place than most people are used to, who they're scared to lose. He's fully anticipating that he's going to take the beating of his life. And there's something like, I don't know, there's something kind of challenging about that, I think, for Tyrus, that he's going to have to face somebody different, like Scion, somebody with a different mindset, not somebody who's striving, that needs a title, or, like when you face like a Sal Rinauro or something that, it's like he wants the title. But I mean, Scion's like, he's got a different motivation, it seems like. I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
I think it's this thing of like, he's talking about, he's going all in no matter what. Like, he is the fear of failure, the fear of being broken, beaten, battered, bruised, all of those things, bloodied. He's
it's like it doesn't phase him.
It's like, I'm not afraid of any of those things, and I'm walking right into them to accept all of it, because I want that title so bad. It's scary.
He's fully aware of the size difference. He acknowledges it. He calls it out. I mean, there's like a coldness to Scion that's kind of scary.
It's false humility, guys. It's actually pride disguised as humility. And like it says in the scriptures or in Lord of the Rings or Star Trek or something, pride goes before the fall. Pride goeth before the fall. And this whole idea of, I don't have to, it's false humility, whatever. You didn't just get to wake up one day and decide, you want this, and therefore you're better than Tyrus. Tyrus is going to annihilate you. It's going to happen, and I can't wait to see it.
We shall find out.
Yeah,
I'm anxious to see. I'm anxious to see when the bell rings what plays out, because I'm intrigued.
There was something too, like when Pope took on Tyrus. There was like, I've never seen Tyrus in a match quite like when he was in the match with Pope, and Pope was defending his title. He had a lot on the line. He was, he had the pride of being the champion. It just feels like a totally different dynamic than Scion walking in and like, I know what you're going to do to me. I know what I'm going to have to go through. I'm still taking this no matter what. I'm still taking this. You're going to beat me. I know this. You're going to bloody me. I know this. It's going to hurt. But he's still taking that title because he wants it so bad. The
NWA is full of men that really, 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 really want titles. I'm talking about Slice Boogie, JTG, Sal Rinauro, Colby Corino. The list goes on and on and on. Just because you want it, I'm going to tell you right now, people in hell want ice water. Right, that thing they say that in Lord of the Rings too.
Star Wars.
So You want Star Wars, yeah. Spock said that in Star Wars, Episode 3, the Tale of the Two Towers.
Gandalf returns.
But wait, just because you want something doesn't make you a contender. Now, I will say this: that's not to say I'm not impressed with what I've seen from Scion. I'm impressed with his ability.
Look at that match with Bibbs this past couple of weeks. Yeah,
I gotta give it, man. I don't like the guy. He's been nothing but dismissive of me. And we've had our exchanges and whatnot. But does he have the ability? He does have the ability. But if he's trying to, if his mindset is that, it's going to happen for me because I really, really, really want it, I don't think that's the right mindset. I think the mindset that you need to have going against the Tyrus is, look, I don't have any alternative. I have no alternative but to win. But clearly he said to us, that's not his mindset. It's not that he has to have it. It's he wants it. Well, I want a lot of things. I want $1 million. That doesn't mean I'm going to get it.
That's certainly one way to read
Although
it.
I will.
And Polio Del Mar is with you in the chat saying that you shouldn't even be in the NWA if you don't want a title. So, there's 100% that discussion. I don't know that that's what Scion is saying exactly, that like he, it would be interesting. We should get Scion on the show sometime.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, that's I just interpret it differently, and all of his messages, they seem direct, but there's this cryptic level to them, and it's like, I can see where you come away with the understanding that you have, Doc, but for me, there's like something ominous about it, and something that's like, I think it's going to be a different kind of challenge for Tyrus in this title defense. And you're right, everybody wants titles. Everybody wants to be a contender. The difference is going into Hard Times 2, Scion is that contender. He's cashing in his Champion Series title shot against Tyrus, so he's got that opportunity. So, yeah, anything can happen, and it's going to be just really fascinating to watch, I think.
Well,
how many times have we heard people say they need it? Like, sorry to interrupt you, Gary, but thinking about like with Miracle Mike Bennett, I want this. I need this. I have to win. I have to do this. Or going on to with Hard Times 1, James Storm versus Nick Aldis, right? This certain impetus of I have to do it, and now we have this. And did they do it? No, they didn't. So there's that. But how much more equipped are you to go into the fight of your life saying, "Oh, I don't have to have it. I want it, but I don't have to have it."
Guess we will see.
Yeah, Polio pointing out, though, that it's come to light that Doc has just heard that Scion can't be bothered with him, and wants to know why that hurt your feelings, Doc.
Oh, it's not. This man took the time to write a message to me saying he wished there were 25 hours in the day so he could hate me longer.
That's true.
So
I have video of him writing it, so
it's beyond personal. So.
Okay. All right. So at least you have some insight there, folks. All right. So what we know about Hard Times 2 here is, because we can talk about this forever, but what we do know about Hard Times 2 is assuming Trevor Murdoch gets through with Helicon, it's Trevor Murdoch versus Mike Knox. Whoever is the world champion, I suppose, is taking on Mike Knox for the world's heavyweight title. Mike Knox is here for that championship. We also know that the tag team titles are on the line. La Rebellion, Mecha Wolf, and Basia Say are taking on The End, Perro, and Odinson for the tag team championship. We know the TV title is on the line. We know Tyrus is defending against the mystery man, Scion. We know that Camille is defending the Burke against Melina.
A gangster.
Yeah,
gangster.
Bret Hart behind me. Canadian.
Right.
So down at the bureau. Down. Take that down there to the bureau.
Let's see. There's a lot of matches we could probably try to assume. I mean, I assume something's going to get settled with Nick Aldis and Tom Latimer. There's
national title.
There's the national title. We know that. I mean, Chris Adonis is clearly out there, and Jedias has the #1 contendership. So is that going to happen?
Women's tag team titles. I mean,
women's tag. Yeah, God, I mean, what have we seen here recently? Pollo Del Mar said, I want to see OGK return with the ROH World Tag Titles. Yeah, congratulations to OGK. They just won the ROH Tag Titles. And
I'm gonna
they're
tell
in
you
the
what I
NWA.
gotta see. I gotta see Pollo Del Mar advising one of these teams or one of these talents. That's what I want to see. You want Sion to get that next extra push, that next extra element. Take on Pollo Del Mar as advisor.
That's not a
Then
bad
you might
idea.
Then you might stand a chance.
I mean, Pollo Del Mar is no joke. Pollo Del Mar is all over Twitter, you guys. Make sure you follow Pollo. Perfection, just on Twitter. Just a lot of fun. Live tweeting events and everything else. If you love wrestling, you want to follow Pollo Del Mar. Thank you, Roy to Caps, for being here. Eric Dale. Yeah, Eric, I'm with you. I would love to see Mike Bennett get that rematch with Aldis. Like, that would be fantastic. And by the way,
100%.
Mike Bennett's been tweeting recently about one of the things he's never accomplished in the wrestling business as being a world champion. He still wants that. So so
I
that's
100% agree.
Yeah.
100% agree.
That's a whole other thing. Thanks for being here, Big Texan. Sledge from Ring of Honor was in the chat tonight. Thank you so much for being here, Sledge. Thank you, Hustler. Thank you, James H. Jackson. Thank you, James Lawrence. Thank you, Roy to Caps, as always. Eric Dale, did I already say you? Eric Jones, Terry McDermott. God, I'm going to forget people. Front Row and the Nation's Corner is really what they're called. They were here also. And so, oh my God, I'm excited to see all of them in Hotlanta. We're going to be there. I mean, Trenda's going to be there.
And we talking about the home of your world champion Atlanta Braves, baby.
There it is.
That's what I'm talking about.
There it goes.
By the way,
A lot of championships in
Well, let
Atlanta.
me finish my shout out to the Nation's Corner that they're going to have Front Row, Mrs. Front Row, Trenda, Neil, Sean, Amy, Money Mark, and Anthony.
Woo.
Just want to give them some love.
Crew.
They already got all their tickets for every single night. They're going to be there.
Oh, they're going to be there.
Hashtag NWA fan, baby.
That's it. Oh, yeah,
I was
because
gonna tell you.
we're talking about history. We're talking about history, Hard Times 2, title matches, yada, yada, yada. On Friday night, if you're there, you're going to be witness to a brand new show from the National Wrestling Alliance. So that's a whole other thing. History begins on Friday night. That's on December the 3rd. You're going to be part of tapings for a whole new show. What is that going to be? Well, we don't have anything we can officially say. I'm looking through my notes here. I don't have any. But
I don't have notes.
I don't have notes. We don't have any. But there's going to be a whole brand new show. We're waiting on William Patrick Corgan to announce the details. But trust me, it's going to be big. It's going to be a whole new level to the National Wrestling Alliance once it's announced. I can tell you that much about it right now. Love it or hate it, it's going to be a whole other level to the National Wrestling Alliance, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. I personally love it. I think it's exciting.
You could say love it or hate it. I don't think there's going to be anybody who's a true part of the hashtag NWA fam that would hate this new show. It's
yeah. If you add that caveat, but I mean, if you're talking about the internet.
Oh, well, the internet hates everything.
Yeah, they're going to be haters.
I don't know we were using it. Yeah, I mean,
if you're talking about the internet, there's definitely going to be people.
No, I'm talking to our crew. I'm talking to the hashtag NWA
The
fam.
World Wide Web, man. Now, if you bring in the whole World Wide Web, we're talking about all kind of stuff. There are lots of haters.
Maybe it's just me, but I just don't get it. I still don't get it. Even to this day, I see the people that just speak on the internet, and I'm like, if you don't care or you don't like something, STF you and move on.
What does that mean?
That's what you do.
Ooh.
Yeah,
That doesn't sound like
That's
something.
what
I don't
you
know what that means, but I don't think that's something we should say.
Well, you shouldn't bring it up at your middle school.
I got
middle
middle
school.
schoolers right here in the chat right now.
Yeah, you better watch
Watching along.
your abbreviations.
I will tell you
Roro
this.
says, quote, piss off Gary, the internet.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's,
You're just too nice, Gary. You're too nice. And it's hard for you to understand that people can just be mean. But the internet has shown us that that's the case. And some people just like to be
There
mean.
are people on
Garbage.
the internet
Don't waste your time with that.
That think that Sputnik was a host, and lo and behold, there it is right behind you. So it can't be. There it is. Right by
It's like,
right by
why is Doc wasting breath on that? Just love Bret Hart.
I'm not
and
saying,
Captain Kirk
I'm saying I
behind
think it's
Sputnik.
great that you got that. That's cool.
You should be happy that I have hobbies. And that's what you
Crossword puzzles,
Trees? Like little Christmas trees?
pinochle.
I like Christmas trees.
So
I didn't know
Christmas
that was
is
a
my
hobby.
time. Yeah.
origami.
Yeah,
Boredom
origami.
is a sign of
Riding haikus.
I wanted to point out
Stop.
since we'll be back in the wonderful NWA arena at GPB, home of the world champion Atlanta Braves. The last time the Atlanta Braves won a world championship, a World Series, was October 28th, 1995. Game 6 of the World Series against the Cleveland Indians, David Justice hit that home run. What you don't realize, though, is that there is even though we know that President Conspiracy Corrigan is a lifelong Chicago Cubs fan, there's an inextricable link between him and the Atlanta Braves. Not only by the fact that the NWA's heart and soul and capital now is in Atlanta, but 4 days before that World Championship victory was October the 24th, 1995, the United States release date of one of the greatest rock albums in the history of the world, Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness.
Listen to this guy. He talks about me sucking up, and then here he is. Here he is.
I've never listened. I don't like the record. You want to talk about that record's horrible. You want to talk about a good record? You got to look at Menudo stuff. You got to look at NSYNC, real rock bands. But
NSYNC.
people will tell you that's one of the greatest rock bands, rock albums of all time. 4 days before
that album has the song Muzzle, which you guys know that
Never heard
obviously I've had interaction with William Patrick Corgan, and I briefly took a moment. I took like one brief moment, and I said, Muzzle is the greatest song that was ever written. And then I said, I'll never talk about your music again. And he said, piss off, Gary. And
you did.
That was the end of that. And we don't talk about it anymore. But I do. Muzzle is one of my favorite songs of all time, for real. It's all Melancholy, Infinite Sadness. So well said, Doc. And yeah. So
I used to spam call the local radio station. I don't know, were you in this area back then, Gary, or were you in Georgia still?
I was in Georgia still, probably.
Okay.
Then.
Well, it was 103X here in Greenville in South Carolina. And I was a sixth grader, and I would just sit and dial the radio station until I could get through because, I was always busy. And I would request almost every song from that album until they played it. So,
Oh, nice.
My only conversation with William Patrick Corgan ever about music was, hey, my favorite band's The Cure. That's a band.
And then he said, piss off, Gary. And you're like, oh, no, that's not. No, I'm the other one.
But he took it. He was like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I will piss off. Anyway. All right. Go back to your NSYNC albums, Doc. And we're going to go back to our
real rock. That's
families.
real rock.
Anyway.
Everything I do wasn't quite enough for you.
I'm not going to hit on NSYNC.
Well, I mean, my wife would kill me if I did. Anyway, thanks for everybody for being in the chat tonight. We've gone a super long time tonight. We thank you so much for being here. And thank you to Tom and Camille for being here. That was very cool of them to show up, even if I didn't agree with everything they said. Thank you so much. And love you guys. Love you. The whole hashtag NWA fam. You keep it going. Legitimately. You guys are the ones that make this happen. This is why we had the after show. It's to hang out with you guys. And if you want to hear more, you want to do more, you got to support the NWA. Fight TV. It's $4.99 a month. You get at least 3 good episodes of NWA Power, and then a PowerrrSurge episode. So you get a lot for that amount of money. And but I will say this. I can't tell you much about the new show. I don't know all the details about the new show, but somebody mentioned, I hope it's wrestling. It is 100% wrestling. And
Okay.
well, I mean, I think it's a fair assessment because WWE will be putting out like Total Bellas or something, like you could do that.
Cartoon.
But it's not. Yeah,
It's an
it's
NWA
not that.
cartoon.
It's 100% going to be wrestling, and it's going to be answering the requests of a ton of people that love NWA and what
Like
they want.
The internet.
Yeah, like the internet.
The
It's
web.
going to be
The internet.
answering the requests of the internet. So it's up to us to make sure that it's celebrated and adored. That's another album, by the way, Adore. Anyway, all right, we got to get out of here before we keep going.
Hey, if
I'm
you
gonna
like
drink
listening to banter like this and us debating, make sure you subscribe to youtube.com/thisisprowrestling. That's our other channel. We're getting things ramped back up over there. And so yeah, if you like that, come check us out.
You can see all our handles on the Twitter and everything. Eric, love you too, buddy. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoy hanging out with us. And
Eric Dale's my man. That is my
Nah,
brother
he's
right
a
there,
good
no
dude.
doubt.
He talks crap about me all the time. No, this is good. This is good. I mean, what other? Let me ask you this: what other wrestling promotion right now is going to give us carte blanche to just sit here and do a post show and talk to you guys as long as we want about whatever we want and not try to stifle us or silence us or whatever? This is legit. You guys can say whatever you want in that chat. This side of hate speech, but like you can, you can talk about whatever you want to. We can talk about whatever we want to. We hang out. We have a good time. We're focused on the NWA. We're celebrating the National Wrestling Alliance and what they're doing. We're here to support them in the growth and the execution of what William Patrick Corgan is trying to do right now. This is a big deal. This is good stuff. And anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with us. And from Will, from Doc, from me, you guys all please enjoy